So today we are going to talk about C++, and I want us to look at a few things. Alright, we are going to talk about expression and statements, and our objectives in this slide is going to be we're going to learn about statements, type of statements, expressions, and types of expressions. And under expressions, it's basically a combination of variables, operands, and operators. It comes up to form an expression. And we know variable stores values or results of expressions. Operands are also entities that operators act on, and they represent the data in an expression. We'll look at that very soon. And also, operators are mathematical symbols used for specific operations. The expressions may also consist of one or more operands and consist of 0 or more operators to produce a value. Example is the one right there. You can see A and A plus B and C. And you can also see X is equal to A plus C. These ones are called operands. And here they are. A is an operand and B is also an operand. And the operator that's working on these two operands is the plus sign. We have types of expressions, numerous types of expressions. We have the constant expression, bitwise expression, pointer expressions, logical expressions, relational expressions, floating expressions, and integral expressions. And these are all types of expressions. We will get to know almost all of them today. If all operands are integers, then the expression is called an integral expression. Also, if all the operands are floating point values, then the expression is called a floating point expression. And basically, an integral expression will yield an integral result, and also a floating point expression will yield a floating point result. Let's look over here. Okay, here is mixed expressions, and mixed expressions has different data types, as we know, the boolean, all those data types. But in mixed expression, let's say it contains integers and floating points. Such expressions yields floating points. You understand? Expression where the value produced depends on the value of a condition. That's a conditional expression. An expression where the value produced depends on the value of a condition. So the values or the results are really dependent on the condition. And we have relational expressions, and they yield type of bool which takes a value true or false. Example, x greater than or equal to y, or x plus y greater than 2. Let's say we have a value of x to be 2 and a value of y to be 3. X is less than or equal to y, we yield a false answer. Sake of x is less than y, but it's not equal to y. Logical expressions to combine two or more relational expressions and produce bool type results, like this. Actually, this is the equality operator. We are actually comparing x to 10 to find something, and this also they produce a bool type result. So let's say x is 5 and we put the equality sign between it and 10. You can basically tell 5 is less than 10 and never equal to 10. So this expression will yield a false statement. Now we have pointer expressions, and they produce address values, just like these ones here. And then expressions also tell the system that you are done with the expression, with your expression instructions or expression creation, and they normally use the semicolon. We will look at some very soon. So here you can see that after this statement we use a semicolon to tell the compiler we are done with this line. And also here is another one and another one and another one. So we always terminate a line with our semicolon, used to make reading and understanding programs much more pleasant. Comments is a very useful tool in programming. because comments are helpful in escaping the execution of some part of the code. Let's say you have a particular code and you want to test just a certain portion. You could use comments to comment out that portion you don't want it to run, then it will execute the place you want to test. And comments is very helpful when you are debugging your code, because you know at this point what was I trying to do. The comment you place there will actually tell you what you're trying to do. Because when you program projects and put there for a long time, and maybe you want to get back to it for one or two steps, you might forget some things, and comments will help you make the remembering of those things easy. We have single line comments and we have multi-line comments. And to use a single line comment, you have to use the double forward slash, sorry. And the compiler will ignore anything after that slash, no matter where it is. And here is an example of it. A single line comment. When you run this code, you are not going to see this, but hello world is what is going to show up. We also have a multi-line comment. A multi-line comment is a forward slash and an asterisk, and it's also end with an asterisk and a forward slash. Sorry. So anything you want to comment out with the multi-line, let's say you have multiple lines you want to comment out, from the beginning, very top, you use this one, and at the last end you use this. And here's an example of a multi-line comment. We're also talking about indentation here, and indentation actually makes code readability and understanding more pleasant. And each nested block should be properly indented and spaced with a tab space. All braces should start from a new line, then the code comes following the end braces from a new line. Actually, indentation, sometimes when you are coding or you are programming a project, because of indentation you might get errors. It will bring up errors, sure. Anytime you write a program without correct indentation, you are going to end up with errors. And it is mainly used for code inside looping statements and control structures like the for loops, the while loops, declaring a function, all those stuff. You need indentation to keep them aligned and all that. It can be used in functions when the loops and control structures are used in them. So you can have multiple indentations, such as this. Here we are actually saying assigning this to variable A, assigning 10 to variable B, and we are saying if A is greater than B, it should do this. Now we use the indentation to make it structured. So when you bring this one over here, your compiler will give you an error. We are also going to talk about statements. A statement is a single instruction that performs an action. Statements are the building blocks of a C++ program. So here like this is a statement. This is a statement. We have selection statements and the statements used in decision making. Example, the if, the switch. We have the iterative statements, and these statements is used to express iteration tasks. Example, for, while, do, while, and expression statements. These are statements used to evaluate expressions. Declaration statements are also the statements used to introduce new variables or constants. Example, int age. And we have jump statements too, and these are statements used to manipulate normal execution of codes. Example, the break, the continue, the go to, and all that. We have compound statements, and these statements are statements that group multiple statements together. They are block of codes enclosed in curly braces like this. This is a compound statement. It's a group of multiple statements that's combined. This is a declaration statement and a declaration statement, and all these have been combined. We have also selection statements. And these statements used for decision making in C++. Selection statement like the if condition statement, else statement. We also have the switch condition statement. You have to note a condition is either an expression or a declaration. Right, so this is decision making statements in C++. Have the if else condition true or false. You have the switch, if else, if, nested if. And these are the switch is this is the structure of a switch expression, but the if else has so many structures. Like this is just an if and a condition, but this is an if with the else condition, and this one is an if with an else if. So if this, else if this, and the else. We have also nested ifs. Nested ifs is basically an if statement and another if statement. So a mechanism for deciding whether an action should be taken. This is an if statement, basically an if statement, and the syntax is if into your brackets, the expression, and then your statement on the next line, just like this. This is our if, and this is our expression, and this is our statements. And also you can see the indentation over here, right here. So now we are also looking at the if else statement syntax, and if else statement syntax is basically if this expression, do this, else do otherwise. Else do otherwise. This is basically the structure of an if else statement. Like this, if age is greater than 12, you should print out student is old, else student is young. Basically in this scenario, age is 12 here, and we all know 12 is not greater than 12, so it won't execute this. The first statement is actually saying if this is true, then bring out this. And you're actually telling the program that then if anything else apart from this being true, then give us the student is young. You have nested if too, as I said, an if statement and another if statement, and you should be aware of the indentations. Just like this, we have if n is greater than 0, and if n modulo 2 is equal to 1, then you should print a positive odd number, else a positive even number. Remember, this else statement, this else statement here is for this if, not this. Checking the indentation. So first of all, you are saying if this one is valid, then you should come here. It should proceed with this. And if n modulo 2 is 1, then it's actually a positive odd number. But then if anything apart from this, it's a positive even number. This is also a nested if. You have switch statements. Also, switch statements allows you to choose between multiple alternatives. Compares the value of one expression with multiple constants, and expressions in switch statement must be an integral type, integer, character, boolean. The constants must be different and can only be integral types, like this. So switch your expression, then the first case, your statement, then break. What if it's not the first case? Okay, the second case, your statement and break. And the bottom line is your default statement. When these things are not working, the default thing should produce. So here we are declaring an A to be 12, for example. So let's say switch our statements. Case 1, then our statement, then break. Then defaultly, what should appear? To give that statement here, then we break it. This is basically a switch statement. just like this. That was a skeleton. This is an example. Let's say age is 18, so switch age. We are looking at this case. I say when the case is 18, you should print students can vote, and you should break. Anything apart from a default, you should bring students can't vote. Break statement. The break statement exists from a switch or loop immediately. Break keyword can be used to jump to the first statement that follows a switch or a loop. Basically, wherever you use break, you are trying to tell it to exit from something. So let's say you are running a for statement and you include break. You're actually telling the compiler that immediately you read that portion, it should exit from the for statement. Yeah, just like how it has been used here. If this is true and this is happening, after it prints out, it should exit from this and come to the main function, the main code. We have continuous statement, and the continuous statement continuous execution after a condition is accomplished. It is used in loops, mostly in loops, and has the opposite effect to break. That is, the next loop is begun immediately. Continuous is like, even if the condition is met, it should continue doing what it is doing. Just like this. After case 18, it shouldn't exit out but continue with everything, the rest. We have operators, and basically operators, as we know in mathematics, they are mathematical symbols like the plus, the minus, the backward slash, and all that. Sorry, forward slash. We have arithmetic operators. That type of operators. We have the arithmetic operators. We have the assignment operators. We have the conditional operators, relational operators, and the logical operators. Arithmetic operators are basically the ones used for arithmetic calculation, and the assignment operators are like the equal to, and the conditional operators are what sets a condition, and relational operators are like making a relation between two things, like the greater than or less than. We'll talk more about them. We have the arithmetic operation, and these are basically the ones you can use. You have the logical operators too. Logical operators, they are used to express logics, and normally they return a bool result. Uses the end, this, and not operator. Syntax is your expression operator in your variable. Example, that's the example here. Logical operators. If age is greater than or equal to 12, this is end, and age is greater than or equal to 18, students can vote. And this is the or logical operator. So if age is equal to 18, or the age is greater than 18, then the student can vote. And then the not. If the age is not 18, is not equal to 18, then the student can't vote. We have conditional operators, and the conditional operator, like this, the question mark, is used to form an expression that produces either of two values depending on the value of some conditions. And this basically is your expression and your second expression. Like result is equal to x greater than or equal to 0. Then your conditional operator x, and your second expression. Conditional operators. So we have increment operators too, and they are used to express increments in values, and they are used by and can be used as a prefix or postfix operator. It uses the plus operator, and the syntax is basically your operator in your variable. So let's say an example is this: a prefix increment plus x. That's an increase. That's an addition. It's increasing. That's the increment, and the postfix is after your variable, then your operator. So we have decrement operators. They are used to express decrement in a value. Can be used as a prefix or postfix operator. Basically like the increment operator, but this one is actually decreasing the value of the variable. So all operations inside of that operator precedence, all operations inside of the brackets are evaluated first. The multiplication, the division, the modulo are the same level of precedence and are evaluated next. The plus and the minus have the same level of precedence and are evaluated last. When operators are on the same level, perform from left to right. So basically, you are saying anytime the compiler sees, the C++ program sees any expression on anything, it first checks on the brackets and evaluate that first, then comes to these three things. Since these three things in programming are on the same level, they are on the same level, so it's wherever it sees it, the ones it sees first from the left to right, that's the one which will be executed first. So let's say it finds multiplication first before division, it will multiply before division, and also when it finds division before the multiplication, it will divide before the multiplication, and so is the same as the plus and minus. So here, from week 1 to now, use your knowledge to create a GP calculator or a desk calculator. You can paste your code in the comment section for all of us to review. Thank you.